Hey, you know what's better than a drone? A drone on a drone.
Yeah.
Take it, Hog.
Go.
Hog, stop it.
Go.
Yeah!
All right, do it again. Ah! Drone down, drone down. That was a zogging good time. Welcome to the Red Ones Go Faster. I'm old Big Mek. That was me, crazt. And yes, we put a drone on a drone, and it was a lot of fun. Let's talk about it. All right, so for those of you new around here, this channel is all about having fun with 40K. That's our whole big shtick here. Lots of kit bashing and converting and making things out of garbage and just all sorts of random hilarity. And the grots are super duper into it. And well, we had this really fun idea, as you saw. One of them recently had a birthday and asked for a drone and got one and has been flying it around for a while. And we've been talking about ways to integrate it into the channel because they really love having these great ideas. And of course, you know, talking about cameras and stuff, you know, is pretty typical, but it doesn't have a camera on it. It's obviously a kid drone. It's not that powerful. We're kind of got into, well, maybe we could fly something with it. And while there are hover tanks and grav tanks and things like that, being a kid drone doesn't have that much power, but we knew it could do a single Warhammer model. And thus the conversation began with, well, which one do you stick on it? Obviously something orky, because that's what we do around here, but it really wasn't making sense. We were about this close to doing a Storm Boy when it hit us like a ton of bricks right out of Gork's foot. And yeah, you got to put a drone on the drone. And it was a hoot. And all that's made me want to do now is go buy some like $1,000 crazy actual hobbyist drone with a camera on it, and then tape the drone to it so that you could see it from the camera and like fly around first person view, all that kind of crazy fun stuff. And it got me to thinking, what are some of the really crazy Warhammer ideas you have that you would love to do? With the idea being, I want to see if there's any of these we can actually accomplish together. Yeah, it's fun. So obviously the RC thing has been done. There's a guy on Instagram, at least that's where I've seen him, he's probably all over the internet, that famously made a actual hovering tank. He took one of the new Primaris Impulse or Repulse, whatever the heck they are, stuck it on a like really nice quadcopter thing and is able to fly it around. And when you go to his channel and you look at all of his stuff, he does everything RC. He's got this wicked awesome Rucka Truck squig buggy that is on a 4x4 chassis that just rips around everywhere. And then he's got something that has a flamethrower on it that like actually shoots fire. I mean, it's insane, but this guy is clearly like into RC. He really knows RC stuff. I'm more like what Squidmar did, where they just kind of stuck the big giant pirate ship body that they put all the orcs on onto like a big 4x4 truck and then immediately crashed it into a zillion pieces. That's our level. So RC stuff having been done and being really expensive, this is kind of out of the question. But it got me thinking, like, what are some of the other like big kind of Warhammer adjacent funny hilarious ideas that I have, and how could I go about doing them? Which then got me thinking, because you guys are all so creative and amazing and hilarious, I really want to know what's in your brains. What kind of crazy thing have you been thinking of? Like, seriously, let me know down in the comments below, or let's go talk about it over in our Discord, which is totally free, by the way, on what kind of crazy thing you want to do is. Because, you know, we all talk about, like, the models we want to paint, or the armies we want to buy, or the games we want to play, like, some scenarios and things like that. But nobody ever really talks about, like, I've got this crazy idea that's been brewing back here for 20 years, and I really want to do this thing. What is that thing? You don't gotta be a Zogging genius to understand that old Big Mek's real dream is to build an actual life-size orc buggy and then go race it on the racetrack. If you want to see that happen, you could support the channel by buying some cool merch like this dirty paint water mug that has a red squig on the other side at our merch channel, link down in the description below. It's called theredOnesGoFaster.com, where you can get this super awesome shirt with artwork by BenBam. Comes in black and red and all sorts of fun colors. Or a red squig snapback hat, or water bottle, or beanie cap, or hoodie, or anything else you want. It's all really good stuff, and every single thing you purchase supports the channel. Also, I'm told there's a contest going on right now. I'm sure old Big Mek will talk about it later. I mean, you don't have to be some 20-year Eldar to figure out that that's what I want to do in real life, is build an actual, like, orc buggy, like a shock jump dragster or something like that, and then actually race it at the racetrack. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. It costs thousands and thousands of dollars, way out of the question. Maybe one day. But there are some crazy ideas that I have that I can accomplish relatively soon. And yeah, you know, I might not have ever talked about these before, so this is going to be interesting and exciting, but I do have a couple. In fact, I can think of 3 really, really big ones. Okay, the first one is probably the most realistic, but it's something I've wanted to do since I started the channel. You all see the background, right? You see it every single video, and I've worked really hard on trying to improve it. We've gotten shelves and bookcases and moved things around and lighting and right, but it's still just kind of this. It's not as exciting as a lot of the other channels, and I know a lot of them use lighting and kind of some props and things like that, but this is a working site, as you can see, because I don't have a dedicated film studio or anything like that. This is just something I do for a whole lot of fun, because this is how I get my Warhammer on, is by talking about this with you guys and then being able to chat about it on the internet. But yeah, my idea is I want to get rid of all this. The cabinet can like go over here where you can't see it. The shelf can go away. The display case can go away. And what I want to do is on that wall right there, I want to build a 40K scale kill cruiser. Now, hear me out. Obviously, you're not going to use it in the game. Obviously, it's not going to be 3D. We're not welding this chunk of metal together. What I want to do is build a display case. All right, and it's only going to be thick enough to, you know, like hold, you know, like a Def Dread size base, maybe a little bigger. Thick, right? But I'm going to mount it up on the wall in the shape of the kill cruiser and make it have all the decks and stuff, right? And have like a great big giant loading bay with the Stampa in it. And then like maybe a secondary bay with the Gorkanauts and whatnot, and then have like the bowels of the ship down in the tail. That's where all the grots live. And then like, I don't know, maybe the flash kits are like up at the you know, the first class area or whatever. But yeah, like display my whole orc army on a life-size kill cruiser board. So for that, obviously, you need like, you know, a sheet of plywood and a bunch of 2x4s and things like that. A saw. I have a saw. I know how to do a little bit of woodworking. So that is definitely something that could happen. It's just all about kind of engineering it and then buying the wood and putting it together. But I think that would make an absolutely killer background to see this huge, massive kill cruiser all the time with my orc army on it. And then when we go grab something off the shelf, it's just extra, extra epic. So that is probably the most likely to happen. Now, the second thing is similar, and I've had this idea almost as long, and it definitely came to fruition during Tacoma Open last year. So for those of you that aren't familiar, Tacoma Open is one of the U.S. grand tournaments that's put on by Games Workshop Corporate. Absolutely massive, super fun ordeal, 3 or 4 days, something like that. I only went for 1 day last year, had the time of my 40K life out there, and can't wait to go again. And what really intrigues me the most is the narrative. And in narrative play, people often are in full cosplay and they have like really awesome themed ways to carry their armies around and things like that. And that got me thinking, what would be really, really, really cool would be to build a traveling case that is a Gargant. So it's going to be a 40K size Gargant. You could use them in the Titan Walk, right? You could use them in a apocalypse game. But the reality is, you open them up, and inside are just all the shelves holding the army. And so you wheel your Gargant in, pop them open, take the army out, play your game. And when you're done, you put them all back together, and you bring the Gargant with you. So, like I said, it's like a culmination, a continuation of the Kill Cruiser bringing the orcs in a Gargant. Now, that one is a lot harder to build. But I got to thinking about it. And not only could you build it, but if you were really, really, really good, if you had some money, some teeth, if you had some financial backing, you could potentially produce that for sale. I mean, think of it. Would you buy that from the merch store? I mean, even at like $100 or a couple $100, an actual carrying case, because those things are expensive. I mean, I put all my stuff in tackle boxes, and even those get pricey. But you know, those foam cases and the metal cases, they get really, really pricey. A couple $100 to have a Gargant that looks like a Gargant. Like, you can make him out of injected molded plastic, right? Maybe put all those little tackle box cases in him for the drawers or whatnot, or make it like where you can insert any of the popular drawers and just kind of have this outer shell. Would be really, really, really cool. So yeah, that is my second really awesome idea. Which leads me into my third and final one. And this one is a little bit more, I don't want to say commercial, but it serves a purpose for more than just me, even more so than the Gargant carrying case would be. Now, obviously, I've come up with some pretty wacky ideas before, and some of them have been really, really good, like Red Squig, right? That's why we've got all the merch for it, is this was actually kind of really clever, and I was able to do all the artwork for it and get them made, and it's been super duper rad and fun. I have always wanted to make my own injection molded plastic kit. Even way before I discovered Warhammer 40K, I was into building model cars and planes. When you are into scale model building, they have these things called trans kits. And what it is a big company, you know, your Tamiya, your Revell, your AMT or TEL, Auto World, those kind of things, Hasegawa, they make kits of certain cars and planes and tanks. And they tend to kind of make the same thing over and over and over again, just a one particular version. In cars, this is often like a single model year or trim level, right? Typically, the most popular one, the highest end, right? So say a 1967 Pontiac GTO, right? It's gonna have the hood scoop, it's gonna have the tri-power intake, it's gonna have all the cool stuff that makes it a GTO. What they don't make is the base model. You're never gonna find a 67 Le Mans or a Tempest with a flat hood and a straight six, or the little baby V8 with a single 4-barrel and like the base model bench seat interior and like column shift, right? They just don't make that. So if you want to build one, there are these guys that make these trans kits. There's even companies that make them now. But you would buy it and it would have like a resin hood and resin seats and a resin dashboard and things like that, and maybe even decals, maybe even chrome plated parts to build this different version. You would transform the kit from one thing to another. In the military stuff, you definitely get like the crazy versions of airplanes, or ones that were like really esoteric. You know, they built only 3 of this variant with that motor or whatever. And you'd get it, and they'd have like photo etched brass and things like that, and then like these vacuum formed canopies. What I want to do is build a kit like that, but for 40K. And the idea being, there are certain bits that are just literally worth their weight in gold because they are so good at converting everything else, especially for orcs, right? If I could make a box that's just like orc awesomeness in a box, right? And you open it up and it's got a couple of sprue frames on it, and maybe there's a bunch of orc legs, because you always have spare torsos, so a bunch of orc legs that use the old ball and socket thing, right? But they're in different poses that don't have quite as much of a donka-donk on them or something like that, right? And yeah, like you've got like a leg extended or whatever. And then armor panels for the trucks, you know, those little like cut up pieces of plastic that you have to like make all the time out of the bare plastic. You could just have them already done that look like they're cut out with like a torch or a saw, and they're all like kind of beat up, or they've got like orc glyphs, you know, welded to them, and all the rivets and stuff like that. Have like a whole bunch of those. Have the actual like mounts and stuff for the vehicle. So have like the little collar thingy that you need to do the wrecking ball, crane arm thing, or maybe just a whole crane arm thing actually, and kind of like a bigger cannon, and just all kinds of stuff like that. Like you could lay it all out on a super simple injection molded piece, maybe make 1 frame or 2 frames out of it, and then inject them and sell them, and just have them as add-on gubbins. And yeah, so gubbins in a box has definitely been something in my brain forever. And if it really took off, obviously I would want to make all sorts of more gubbins for all sorts of other armies, because honestly, like every army could use something like that to help make your conversions better or cooler or just easier to do, or just stretch your dollars. Because instead of buying, a couple $80 kits, if you could buy one $80 kit and one, say even $30 conversion box, but that box does, multiple things out of it, you'd probably buy that box a lot. I know I'd probably have a case of them here because, like I said, there are definitely bits that I hoard because they are so useful for so many things. So making a Warhammer bits company, but where they are injected molded plastic, that would be my ultimate dream. But anyways, those are the insane ramblings of an old Big Mek that's clearly had too much red squig before bed and has been allowed to go a little loosey-goosey with all the ideas in his head. Let me know what you think. Am I really out there in far off La La Land, or are these cool ideas? Would you buy a Gargant transport case thing? Would you build one? Would you buy gubbins in a box? Let me know. Let me know down in the comments below. All right. I think that's enough of my insane ramblings. What I really want to hear are what your crazy ideas are, even if they're not worky at all. I want to hear them because I think that having fun with 40K outside of the realm of the actual playing the game is a lot more fun. Think about people that cosplay, right? Especially the ones really, they make the suits of Space Marine armor or Adeptus Sororitas armor, and they have the bolters and the chain swords, right? And then they get all dressed up, they go to the cons. I think that is cool as heck. I would love to do something like that, even if it wasn't work. I think all of the armies and all of the cosplays are really, really awesome. I mean, can you imagine how bonkers it would be to do a Tyranid one? You have extra limbs and stuff crazy going on. That would be insane. So, is that something you'd want to do? How would you go about doing that? I really want to hear these ideas. So yeah, throw them down in the comments below or pop on over to our Discord, which is totally free. Which, speaking of, we got to talk about something. So if you caught the last video, you know that we are doing our next giveaway. And there are multiple ways to enter. Either supporting me on Patreon with a paid patron. Every month you do that for May, June, and July. You get an entry. Or being a channel member here on YouTube where you pay for channel membership. Again, you can get up to 3 of those, May, June, and July. Or buying anything from the merch store. Every single item you purchase is an entry. Now, you can't have entries be just paid in the United States, which is where I am. Which is totally cool, even though we're doing this thing worldwide. So, there's also going to be a contest going on our free Discord at the same time. And it is themed with the contest, because this contest is the Win Old Big Mek's Heavy Metal contest. So what I'm doing is I am giving away loads of my OG metal Warhammer 40K stuff. Specifically orcs. But, yes, one of the prizes, possibly the grand prize, is going to be old Gazgul here. This is the OG Gazgul, the first one you could buy that was Gazgul. And he comes with Makari. And, yeah, so that's the prizes. What the contest on Discord is going to be a painting contest of old school metal minis. Now, just like our last painting contest, we are going to keep the rules super duper simple because I don't want to hamper anybody's creativity. Very simple. It's got to be a metal model. That's it. That's the only requirement. Now, obviously, Games Workshop has made models that are half plastic, half metal. You know, famously, you get a metal body and then you'd have plastic arms, or the vehicles, you'd have a plastic vehicle kit and then have metal bits on top. Those are totally cool. As long as there is some metal present, you are good to go. So, break out your OG and paint up a metal mini. We're going to have the actual contest sub, I want to call it subreddit, but it's not Reddit, right? It's Discord. The sub Discord for the contest up very soon, and you could start entering there. If what we'd like to do is just like our other contest, do a before and an after. Now you could start with something that's half finished or whatever. What we don't want are people pulling something off the shelf that they finished 20 years ago and they just throw it up there. We want you to actually be engaged and be involved and have fun with this. So start with your model, show us where the metal is, do your painting. You've got plenty of time. We're starting it right now. We're not gonna close it for judging and whatnot until the end of the contest, which is all the way in July. So again, May, June, July. At the end of July, July 31st, turn everything off. And then in August, we will judge all of the cool painting and announce a winner there. And then we will draw the names for that. So yeah, everybody that enters the painting contest, which is totally free, will get an entry to win the metal models. We'll also likely have a participation thing that is separate also on the painting contest so that everybody that enters that gets something for their awesome paint jobs. Now, one thing that I happen to have come upon is an absolute stash of old school metal bits from Games Workshop that are just oozing with cool. And it would be a shame to give all of these bits to the same person. Oh, look at this. That is the second Gazgul's claw. I need the rest of him. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's the second Gazgul's claw. And yeah, I think it'd be a shame for all of these to go to the same person. So I think what my idea is we're gonna have a bunch of metal bits available for people to enter the painting contest. So these will be like the commended entries, so to say. Forget Golden Demon. What we're going after here is Metal Grot. And in Metal Grot, if we really like what you've done, you are probably gonna get a bit to add to your collection and use to kit bash some awesome orky thing with your little orky desires. So we got us a whole stash so far, with more to come as I dig through my collection dealing with these bits and bobs. And then yeah, the prizes for the big contest. And again, we're giving away Gazgul and Makari with a little something extra that's going to go with that I'll announce here in a bit, as well as a full old school first gen Tank Busters squad with bomb squigs. And then we also have 3 OG squigs, and I'm talking Rogue Trader OG squigs, back when they were like technically Tyranids. So that is really, really cool. And what I'm going to do is just like the last contest, this is all my own personal stuff. This is not new stuff in a wrapper that's getting drop shipped. This is not, anything like that. This is my personal collection, pulling out of my archives to say thank you for all of you supporting me to turn this crazy idea where I talk Warhammer at a camera into something that's really cool. So yeah, super appreciate it. Hit me up over on the Discord or down in the comments below. Again, we'll have full details over there, and the contest entries open very, very soon. I'm a little slow on Discord because I'm old and it's technology, but we're getting there. And yeah, anyways, that'll do it for this video. Comment down below with your crazy crazy 40k idea. Not even 40k, Warhammer period. Age of Sigmar, Underworlds, Old World, whatever, doesn't matter. Necromunda, ooh. I'd love to hear some cool Necromunda stuff. Give me what you got. Show me what you got down below. Let's talk about it. Maybe if your idea is crazy enough and doable enough, you'll see it right here under Red Ones Go Fasta. Until then, walk on!
For the greater good!